Hi, everybody. So does anybody want to say what that was like? I know I didn't give you much instruction other than the general advice or the general, structure, if you will, or not structure, but, components that you could include. How was that? Was it helpful? Did you want more time? Oh, Maria Lopez Vasquez, thank you. So it worked for you. Is there, oh, it's fun. Gan Xiao, thank you. I'm good. It was helpful. Good. It was helpful. That's great. So you're, just having a chance to practice with somebody else can take that anxiety away a little bit. It's like, oh, this is just another person. Great. I'm so glad that you guys are that you found it helpful to chat with each other. So it can be as relaxed as this. Maybe it's a little bit more formal when you're talking with, somebody who's, a professional, more experienced or something, but oftentimes it can be relatively relaxed. And if you're relaxed, then they will be too. They're more likely to be, relaxed and comfortable. So I'm glad that you guys found it helpful. Does anybody have any questions from from your experience? You could always put it in the chat. And also, I want to say that if you wanted to work on what you want to say, you could also meet with me and we can talk about it. We could practice as well. So Laura, did you have something you wanted to say?
Hi, yes. I had a question about one of the questions.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
So for the last one, where we talk about our experience and what we have to offer, what would you say someone who has just a student, really no formal work experience, what could be something they could answer? Can we talk about a project we've done in class or?
Sure, you could talk about class projects. You can talk about extracurricular activities. And, you could talk about skills like maybe technical or design skills, anything that you think would that would be relevant. It could even be if it's not really in the field that you're applying for. Let's say it's even if you've done work that was more like working at a restaurant, that's communication, or working in a team in a different setting. That can be something that carries over. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you so much.
Sure. Thanks for asking. Any other questions? Okay, general coffee chat. Can I ask questions that were in types of questions? Let's see. Okay, general coffee chat. Okay, Edward, just one second. Let me get to that slide so that I can. Oops, wrong place. Okay. Okay. So, the types of questions. Let's see. Is that page up? Wait. Is this the one, Edward? Okay. Question about general. Okay. Should you keep it more casual? Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think it's okay. It's one of those things where you kind of you want to follow with the flow of the person you're talking with, in that so that if they're pretty relaxed, you want to kind of adopt their style to some extent. But also, if you're not getting your questions answered, you could say, oh, I really have some questions that would be so helpful if you could help me with these. Would you be willing to answer these questions? Does that answer your question? Does that help you with that, Edward? Okay, good. Yeah, so it's kind of like, I think that maybe, something that people can find a little challenging is how do you go from the casual to the more I want to know this information, please. That you have to, I think it's good to express that you really have specific questions you'd like to have answered. The other thing you can do is say, if you run out of time, say, would it be possible for me to contact you again to ask you other questions? And another approach could also be to, in advance, send questions to the person. These are the kinds of questions I'm thinking I'd like to ask you. And so that that person can be ready, knowing, oh, you have specific questions in mind. This isn't just like just a very super casual. I mean, it's that you really have specific questions you want to ask. So that's another approach that can help with that. Let's see. So just to give you a little bit more. So if you're at an event, you know, you very well, if you're at an event, granted we're here on Zoom, but at some point, hopefully we'll be in person. I think these principles carry over into Zoom as well, but, you know, you want to ask open-ended questions, especially if it's in a group setting. The emphasis of this is that you don't want to take up all the space with, okay, this is what I want to talk about, me. You want to balance it with learning about other people. So you want to learn more about other people by asking open-ended questions. Those are questions that don't have yes, no answers. So could you tell me about your experience working at SOM, for example, rather than do you like your job? That's a closed-ended question, right? And you want to have positive body language, try to speak clearly and avoid extra filler words. And that's something where over time, you just notice if you do that and you can work on it. And you can see a lot of this has, all of these points have to do with including other people and paying attention to their body language. You can see that somebody's kind of ready to move on, that to honor that and say, oh, it looks like like you're ready, you're moving on to something else, or it looks like you want to maybe move around the room or something. Hopefully we can find another time to talk, or, you know, look for ways to stay in touch. And importantly, be yourself. Don't feel that you have to be stiff and rigid, or, you know, try to find a way to relax. And I would say that it's helpful to, I mean, for me, when I have something that I'm a little anxious about, I do some breathing. I just do some sitting and breathing. And, you know, if you have any kind of meditative or breathing practice, it can help you when you're, you know, if you have something you're a little bit anxious about, just taking 5 deep breaths can help you get more comfortable when you're anticipating something that where you're not really sure of yourself. And this is also a handout that I'm not going to go into detail about, but you'll get this. It gives you other kind of tips, you know, to help you, some of which I've already gone over, but it'll also give you some other ways of looking at other ways of thinking about the networking experience in person. So with that, we've already done the breakout rooms. Does anybody have any more questions? I'm going to stop sharing the screen.